Sheltering Places is a program designed to enlighten and address viewers and issues affecting building construction and property development, as well as assets management in our dear state, Osun, Nigeria at large, and a lot more from the building industry. Join Babari Oluwatobi on OSBC television channel 113 on Star Times and 502 on Free TV every Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 12 noon. It promises to be captivating and educating. Join us. Sheltering Places. Sheltering Places is a program designed to enlighten and address viewers and issues affecting building construction and property development, as well as assets management in our dear state, Osun, Nigeria at large, and a lot more from the building industry. Join Babari Oluwatobi on OSBC television channel 113 on Star Times and 502 on Free TV every Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 12 noon. It promises to be captivating and educating. Join us.
Yes, you are welcome on the program Sheltering Places, a program that addresses issues that are pertinent to building, property development, construction, vis-a-vis issues in that direction. That is what we do on this program, Sheltering Places. The program is also designed to educate members of the public on the issue at hand as regards how can we have those buildings in our society that can stand the test of time. My name is Oluwatobi Babarite, welcoming you on board. On today's edition of the program, we want to look at the topic that says checklist consideration before buying land. What are those checklists? What are those things that we need to put into consideration before we get our land? And even after getting the land, how should we maneuver everything to ensure that we have the right documents pursuing that land and doing all that is needful on it? That is the line we want to go on today's edition of the program. In doing justice to the topic, our discussion for today is already seated in the house with me. Our guest for today is Engineer Musluddin Olayinka Ibrahim, member Nigerian Society of Engineers, member Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers. He is the one I have with me on today's edition of the program to discuss checklist consultation before buying land. You are welcome on the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
How was your trip?
It was good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, because of straight to the point. What are those things to check out for while buying the lands?
Well, thank you. I think this is very important for everyone because as much as I know that when you started making money, the next you are likely thinking is about shelter, I mean, a roof over your head. But times we've seen people with their hard-earned money buying land and end up becoming homeless because they do not buy a genuine land. So I think this will serve as an education and information for people out there. You see, when we talk about checklist, so we're talking about things that you have to look out for before buying land.
Okay.
We've seen cases where people buy land, even they have even constructed, they have their project, building over it, and at the end of the day, they discover that the land they actually bought was there was a litigation on it, or they did not even buy from the right source. So when we say checklist, it's actually things that you're supposed to look out for, or the verification or the information that you have to have before buying a land. And of course, we have it's about 4 or 5 sections that we might want to look at. We have the technical parts, we have the ownership title verification, we have about the survey and the mapping, we have and equally we have other parts that we have to consider the government regulatory compliance, because there are areas that government utilities will pass through, and before you can build there, you must have a permit, or buying land there, you have things that you have to do. So these are areas that, if time permits us, that we'll look at one after the other about checklists of what you have to do.
Okay. And I want to see all of these areas that you have rightly mentioned. Those informations, are they available to the public? Because I believe that people do you have people patronizing some of following these stages before buying land? Because if somebody just see land there, you just go and buy. Is there awareness there?
Well, I think that is one of the purposes that this program will serve.
Okay.
Those listeners out there, or those viewers that are looking at us, these are the things they have to look for, because it's not just buying the land, it's buying a genuine land. And like I said the other time, that the first thing that you have to look for is the ownership title of that land. If, for instance, you wanted to buy a land, you can ask the person that wanted to sell it for you, or the person that claimed the ownership, to send you the copy or an evidence that truly certifies the person, the land belongs to that person. So when you have this, you can do a verification if the land is genuine. There was a case that happened recently. In fact, a place that is not far from this place, I helped a friend to get a land, and when they sent the photocopy of the ownership to me, of course I'm from Osogbo, so I have to call some of my friends in that compound, asking them the name of their family head. I even asked that if that family head can actually sign, and he said no. And of course, the document that I have with me to verify, it was thumbprint that was on that. That has actually certified that he was saying the truth. And I do not stop there. I still have somebody else to do on their own part. So at the end of the day, it was pointing to the fact that the land was actually genuine before we pay. So you have to do the ownership, get the copy or request for an evidence that make the person the true ownership of that land. So if you don't do this, you just see land and you buy land. Well, there are times you may not have problem with it, but there are most cases of that we have issues at the later on. So you have to check for that ownership and the title. Another thing that you can look for is about the location and the, let me say, the characteristics of that land, or let me say, the location. When we say location, is it when you are considering the location and the neighborhood? Say for instance, you went to buy a land at a place that is reserved for commercial purposes, and now you wanted to build a residential house there. By the time you do that, of course, you will be isolated, because by the time those companies that have their building there, when they might have left, so then you will be the only one there. And there are areas that you have to consider. What is the proximity of that land to the accessibility, to the town, to the city around there? Okay, what about the accessibility? There are some lands that if you buy today, in the next 10 years, the development there will not be as high as you think. And you have your money. Now, you are ready to build the building, to have the building completed within the next 6 months or 1 year. Won't you be isolated if you go buy that land? So you have to check that as well, so that you won't buy land that will not be useful for immediate. If you are buying for a future purpose, that is fine. But if you are not, then you have to check. You have to check that.
Okay, thank you. You have to check that. Let's look at it this way. Is it all land? Is it all land that is buyable? Is it every land that you see that you can buy?
Not every land. Not every land. Say for instance, I was talking about the government compliance the other time.
Yes.
That let's say you are buying land at a place very close to high tension cable. That is a certain meter that you have to leave from that because of the effect that will be coming from that high tension cable, and it will actually affect you. So now, if you are not buying that, if you are not buying land there and you did not observe that setback from the government, of course, you have just wasted your resources. Look at what is going on in Ibadan today. Circular road that Governor Seyi Makinde is actually doing. Initially, it was about 50 meters setback from that circular road. At the time, it got to 150, and they started demolishing the house. Had it been that there have been normal, verification that you have done before then, you are likely not to buy land in that area. And you see, when you want to buy land, there is what we call master plan, either for a local government or for a state. You can do a cross verification, either at the Ministry of Land and Physical Planning or at the Surveyor General Office. There is an application that if you have your survey number, you can actually enter into that app and it will bring the geolocation of that area for you. So if it is part of the acquisition land for the government or reserved area for the government, of course you will have seen it. And if you cannot do that because of the technology involved, you can walk in to any of the agencies or office that is in line with this. So please, I wanted to buy this also land. Is it a genuine land, or does it belong to any particular family, or is it part of the government reserved area?
So when they will check.
Exactly, definitely. If you walk into the General's office or Ministry of Land and Physical Planning, they already have the master plan, and they are going to show you that. So not every land you can buy. You have to do the verification first so that you don't buy land that is not building.
Okay, let's look at location, neighborhood and location. I know you have rightly talked about the title and some other things. Can we look at the issue of location as regards, buying a land?
Yes. If you are the type that is willing to build house now and you move in, definitely you want to consider area that is very close to the farm, the area that you can easily have access to facilities. And when I say facilities, I mean a good road, I mean maybe good water, it could be the electricity of the thing. There are areas that in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, they cannot even smell electricity. And this is the land you wanted to buy. So location is very important. As far as that is concerned, when you say location, there is an area here in Osogbo, shortly after the secretariat, or Newtown to be precise. What they were selling a plot of land there, it's different from what they were selling outside that estate. In fact, what they were selling inside the estate is as maybe in multiple, let's say 4 or 5 times of what they are selling outside.
Wow.
And you see, the people that are buying at the outside of the estate, because of the influence of that estate, buildings springing up there has actually given a facelift to the neighborhood around it. And you can be so sure that, okay, if you have estates here, sooner or later, maybe the owner of the estate or the government itself or the people around, they are going to bring facilities into that area that will help you. And you see, buying land, there may be 2 different plots of land beside each other, beside each other, and the price may not be the same. It may not be the same. Like this one I have just said now, the one inside the estate and the one outside the estate. So you have to consider the neighborhood, and you have to consider the people. Okay, you wanted to build it out. Is it not a prone, commercial prone area that you can have the heavy equipment coming in, and you will still be sleeping inside your house at the middle of the night? Truck will come in to either to offload or to either to take or to drop the goods or the materials or what have you. So these are the things that you have to consider. Is it just buy a loan, except you are not conscious of the other factors that we have been talking about as far as this is concerned.
Okay, thank you, engineer. Let's look at technical and characteristics. You look at what about that one? Land technical characteristics.
Okay, you see, I think that is where my whole profession comes in.
Okay.
There was a client that wanted to buy land, and he reached out to me. And when we have checked various plots of land that was available, he go for a particular one, and I said, no, we are not buying this. He said, why? I said, the land is plain, and of course it's balanced, but they have done the road, the access road that passed through that plot. But the height of that road to the surface of that land is about 1.8 meters. Invariably, that is about 6 feet. So I'm not telling him that I told him that day that if you buy this land, it means you have to do a filling of about 2 meters and above to ensure that the water of your compound comes out onto the drainage that was done outside. So do you have the money for us to do a retaining wall that will take up 2 meters height for us to now put filling that will now bring the water out? He said, I did not look it that way. Look, okay, should we go? We should actually go for another one. And after the completion of this thing, of course, he appreciated me. And there was another person that took me to a plot of land as well. When I got there, I said, hey, no, you cannot build this house. You cannot build this land. He said, why? I said, this is riverbank. So the proximity of this land to that river is very, very close. So if you said that we want to build it, it's not that the land is not buildable, because I know the capacity of it. Because if we are talking about the foundation there, we might be spending above 10 million naira conveniently, and we might have not even finished the foundation. There was this rainfall that happened last week, about 3 or 4 days.
Yes,
if you are going along, if you are going to Fountain University, you will see there is a building right beside that Osun River that the water has taken over the compound already. Had it been that the person has taken an expert, said engineer, land surveyor, or somebody that knows about this thing, they will have checked the environment to see the proneness of that water. Because you want out to build at that area, you are not involving, I'm not saying they do not involve engineer, but at least before buying that land, you will have taken the data that, okay, in the last 3 years or in the last 5 years, how heavy has the rainfall been in this area. Then you look at the building surrounding there, and you see the level of water there. So from there, physical examination, you can judge that even if you have a foundation here, this is what we were supposed to do. So now, this is the technical part. In fact, there are some lands that's gone there, you will have seen that, oh, the level of the water table here will rise, or it's very, very closer to the surface. So if you are building there, you should know the type of foundation that you are to employ. And I do say, there is no land that is not buildable. Okay. There is no land. Okay. If they are to build bridges over water. So how much more building beside the river? Okay. For instance, there was something that happened, I think 2022. I went to Lagos and I went to check a friend at VGC. I was seeing pegs inside the sea, Osha. I was asking that, who are those, who owns those land? And I saw a man that came in earlier. I said, the man that came in earlier was the one that bought those plot of land. I said, inside sea? He said, yes. Now, he bought it at the rate of 8 million naira per plot then. But he had to sand fill. As at that particular point in time, that 2022, he was selling a plot for 70 million naira. I'm very sure now by now, if those land is still very much available, then it will be sold nothing less than 100 million naira. Wow. So, and people are going to build there. So I don't want to agree that people say the land is cheap. It's about the choice.
Okay, it's about the choice. Yeah, our viewers are joining us. The program is sheltering places, and we are discussing and dissecting those criteria, those things that are very key before you get your land. What are those things you need to checklist of certain things you need to put in place before you get your land. And my guest has been engineer Mr. Olayinka Ibrahim, and he's the one educating us on how significant it is for us to ensure we get the right plot of land and involve professionals, experts to guide us so that we will not be buying wasting resources and wasting money, and if at the end of the day emergency happen, Well, I can see, because we don't have much time. For inquiries and any other thing you want to know, our viewers, don't hesitate to get to us through 006505292, and you'll be glad with it. Sir, I want you to just put these two together because of the paucity of time. Let's look at, partly you talked about it the other time, government regulatory compliance checklist, and finally to survey and mapping.
Yes, you see, in survey, there is what we call Lule survey. What we mean by that slang is that these are surveys that are not a record copy.
Okay.
A record copy that even if you get to a survey general office, you might hardly find that number there, because for every plot of land, if you have bought a land now and you've done the survey, if I'm buying the land tomorrow, say you have a reason to sell it and I'm buying the land tomorrow, it will not be done for me until I have an evidence from you to have sold the land to me, and will now take that, your copy, back to the surveyor general office or the surveyor that did that plot of land. It is that surveyor that will have to go and change the name. There was one I did recently. The survey has been done since 2008.
Okay.
We bought the land, I think 2019. And when we wanted to do the survey, we have to go back to the surveyor that did the survey in 2008.
Wow.
And he has to do another one. We still maintain that number, but he has perfected the document to have said that, okay, this is the new owner of that land, and this person supersedes the previous one that he has done. You cannot do that by yourself. So now, by the time you now buy a land, you have that survey, you have a record one, I mean the original one, and you can do the cross-check from the agencies that I've mentioned the other time. So the mapping, by the time you go there and say this is a survey that you have, of course, if the land is not genuine or it's part of the government acquired land, definitely you won't have survey for it. And if you do not have survey, there is no how an architect will properly work on that survey to have gotten your building position, and subsequently to affect those things that you will be doing. So that's why we said, having perfected your documents and passed through the normal processes, you can be so sure that whatever any of the agencies or what have you that comes, that you can do this. So now, we'll now talk about the government compliances or the regulation. There's what we call right of way. There's what we call right of way, that is from your building line to the center of the road. That there's a certain meter that you have to do. So this is mean that you are compliant, and there is no how you will take that document to either the town planning or the OSTDA or what have you, that you now not have been properly guided on what to do. So once you do this, then you can be sure that at least you will be free of further litigation or what have you. And that of litigation is very, very important as well. And that is why it is very important that when you are buying land, involve your lawyer. Involve your lawyer. Even after you have involved your lawyer, and at the end of the day you now have issue, because people will want to say, does that mean that you involve lawyer? Does that make that land genuine? Yes, I'm not saying it makes it genuine, but at least it gives you the confidence that you are doing the right thing. And if at the end of the day, by tomorrow, you now have issue with it, the legal advisor or your legal practitioner who has perfected the document for you right from the onset will have a copy and will be able to defend you in the court of law over the land. Okay,
we'll be able to defend you in court of law over the land. That is the convenience part. What's your one sentence, your conclusive parting short statement? One sentence.
Well, doing the right thing, like NOA would say, Nigerian Orientation Agency, that do the right thing. So if you do that, you're going to enjoy the benefits. And if you do otherwise, definitely you have yourself to be blamed.
I want to sincerely appreciate you for coming on today's edition of the program. Well, our viewers, this is how it has been on today's edition of the program, Sheltering Places. Until next week, when we come your way to discuss another topic, I am Oluwatobi Babarindi, saying bye-bye and God bless you, Rigu.
Sheltering Places. Sheltering Places. Sheltering Places is a program designed to enlighten and address viewers and issues affecting building construction and property development, as well as assets management in our dear state, Osun, Nigeria at large, and a lot more from the building industry. Join Babarindi Oluwatobi on OSBC television channel 113 on Star Times and 502 on Free TV every Friday.